Hey everybody, thanks for watching. I wanted to talk about 5 things that I saw that Scotty Scheffler does that I think that everybody can do. Real basic, simple things that he does in a way that I think can make everybody better at golf. There's things that I've taken to heart that have made me better at golf, and I think and it's not super complicated stuff. It's really basic stuff, but if you do it, it'll make you better at golf. So I'm gonna get straight into the list now. Scotty Scheffler just won the Open Championship, and everybody was kind of universally kind of bored with the entire thing. I think if you took Scotty Scheffler off the top of the leaderboard, then you had like a really riveting, exciting leaderboard. But I think that is the first thing to know that Scotty does that we should do is, I think a lot of us should be a lot more boring in our approach to golf. I went to the US Open this year, and one of the things that I learned from watching that is that them playing the US Open, they end up shooting about the same scores that I shoot at my municipal course that I play at, like El Dorado Park Golf Course. So, which is interesting. The Oakmont set up for the US Open, insanely difficult. El Dorado Park is not that hard. It's not nearly that hard. And it's about average for a normal course. But I was thinking, I should play the way they play. I'm nowhere near as good as them, but I'm playing on a much easier course. So I should probably have a swing strategy the way those guys play at the US Open, meaning they're putting an absolute premium on hitting fairways and hitting greens and not going for anything tricky, not really getting it like too risky, just like plodding your way forward and trying to collect as many pars as possible. That's the first thing. But for Scotty, the first thing is a renewed focus on your grip. What Scotty Scheffler does is every day before he plays golf, and maybe even on his off days, but he has a form grip and he's working on his grip. And you see, he doesn't just mindlessly put it on. Every time he grabs that form grip, and watch a video of it, every time he grabs that form grip, it's as if you gave it to a person and it was the first time they ever put their hands on this form grip. It looks like he's really getting it on in a very unique way.
I feel like when my swing gets off, it's usually something that's very basic about what I'm doing. And so I have my grip club because I'm checking my grip. I have the alignment sticks down because I want my alignment to be good. And that also helps me with my ball position. And then usually either Randy or Teddy's back there making sure I'm taking the club back online. And I'm just working on my form and then hitting shots. And it's pretty much my normal practice routine. That's exactly how I practice at home. And so when you come to a tournament, it's just more of the same.
And I've been doing some work recently with Lee Dietrich behind the scenes about the grip and kind of the function of what each hand does. And there's actually, once you really know what each hand is supposed to do, there is something really, really genius about the standard orthodox golf grip. And even those form grips can teach you. So I would say everybody should get one of those or do something to improve your grip. It doesn't mean your grip is going to look like Tiger Woods 2000 or Scotty Scheffler 2025. It might look like Azinger, it may look like something else, but you have to learn like what is the function of why you're holding it a certain way. And there's just certain things that no good player does as far as like gaps in the grip and other stuff like that. So just a renewed focus on your grip is the first thing we can learn from Scotty Scheffler. So number 2, balance is probably overrated in golf, but dynamic balance is underrated. All right, what does this mean? When a lot of people try to have a balanced swing, they end up not moving. So they think balance means like, okay, there's a statue standing there, that's really balanced. That would be hard to push over. But in golf, you really want to concentrate on dynamic balance. That means the balance of the entire system as you're hitting the ball. So that means that if you're swinging a certain way, you're doing something else that is going to balance that force in harmony with itself. And I think the best thing you can do to learn this from all the stuff I've seen is eyes closed swings. Imagine that there's a shadow of you, like it's casting on the ground, and you don't want the shadow to move too much, but you want to swing fast. Close your eyes and take some swings both directions and keep the swing in constant motion, and just feel as the club tugs on you, you kind of tug on the club and you just swing a lot more in balance. And that is what Scotty Scheffler's an absolute expert at. He swings with a lot of force, but then he's counteracting those forces with forces he's pulling back on the club. So the club's going out, he's pulling back on it, has a beautiful strike, and sometimes all that stuff will equal some over unity and he tips over or leans or something like that, and looking at and the feet shuffle. All that stuff is a little bit of style, but I mean, there's a function to why he's doing that. So eyes closed swings, even hitting foam balls with your eyes closed a little bit, it can really help you a lot. Doing other things that where the bender stick used to do this, where you can kind of feel where your swing is and plays, or watching in real time your swing on video from another angle, or mirror work, or things like that. Anything you can do to swing in tempo and keep your dynamic balance really good. Dr. Kwan, when I saw him in Texas, he said of all the things that he does, the number one thing he sees that makes people look better biomechanically is stage X, which that's constant swinging, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I think if people do that a lot, they'll get better dynamic balance, just like Scotty Scheffler. All right, number 3. There's something about a band and a stick. This is something there's a product called Golf Forever that Scotty Scheffler endorses, but I've seen him use it like even on his own. And if you look, so it's a stick with a band at the end of it. I like the downshift golf one. It's cheaper and it's just as good as the Golf Forever one. And you can go online and you can find different workouts. But basically, if you do the basic thing where you have it set up to the wall back there, and you have that band and stick here, and you're going like that, and stretching it, and like if all you did was that motion there, you know, the different chops and stuff, the band and the stick is something really good. And banded stuff is just, I think, peak golf performance tool. I've noticed that your body seems to turn into the tool you use a lot. So if you're using that rubber band, your body becomes more like a rubber band. That's what I think anyway. And that's one of the reasons I really like the Gravity Fit, is you put it on and it gives you that good stability and you can do things with it, but then it gives you that elasticity to your muscles that's also springy and it has power. I really like that. One of the things I love to do with the Gravity Fit is just go walking around with it, but also I put it around my foot and I do that same thing that I was doing with the band and stick. I really like that. It's something that Scotty Scheffler, if you watch his workouts, he's on the Bosu ball, wiggling around, tossing tennis balls back and forth, you know, warming up his dynamic balance, and he's using bands a lot. So he does everything. He does the weights and stuff as well. But I think for us, do all kinds of different band stuff. It's something that Tom Brady has talked about, really helped his longevity, was working with bands specifically. Those stretchy bands or pull-up assist bands, all that stuff is great. Okay. The other thing that Scotty did that I think we can learn from is go get a putting lesson. I've met a lot of people that have taken golf lessons. Sometimes they've taken thousands of golf lessons, hundreds of golf lessons. I haven't met that many people that have taken a putting lesson. And this is something that Scotty Scheffler, like, he humbled himself. He went to Rory McIlroy for advice, and Rory has worked with Brad Faxon before, and he knows a lot about how to get better at putting because he's had struggles and he's had success with putting. And Rory told him, hey, why don't you try the mallet putter? He changed putters, he at least tried it out. And then he went and recommitted himself to the lessons with Phil Kenyon, his putting coach. That's something I think everybody should do. Go get a putting lesson, preferably a coach that is really good at putting and has some technology, like some tech, like the Capto or something like that. And then once you do that, I think you really should like book out a certain block of lessons where only the first lesson is your swing lesson, so to speak, or your stroke lesson with putting. Everything else you should think of a lot more like it's a personal training session where the coach is going to go there and is going to train your putting. It's going to set up different drills to do and things like that. This is the thing that's the hottest thing, and one of the hottest things that's new on the PGA Tour is they have a coach, but then they also have a practice coach, like my friend Will Wu. He works with Victor Perez on the PGA Tour, where he sets up drills and practice things to do that is totally separate. Like, he works with the coach, but then they say, okay, this is what he needs to get better on. And then they figure out like, okay, what is the practice drills? And that's really how you could work with a putting coach and be like, okay, let's work on this today. And just for an hour and a half, you guys are, you know, he's making sure you're doing the drill right. He's keeping you on task. Things like that would make everybody so much better, because that's probably the lowest hanging fruit, is to make more 6 to 10 footers and make more 2 putts instead of 3 putts. Another thing is get to the course earlier. This is something that I saw. There was a video of Scotty Scheffler and all these other pros at the Travelers Championship. Most guys were getting there like 2 hours or something beforehand. Scotty Scheffler was traveling with his, you know, family and little kids and stuff, and he got there 5 hours and 20 minutes before his tee time. Now, you don't need to do that. I mean, he's obviously going to be doing a workout at the course, he's going to be eating, he's going to be hanging out with his family and doing other stuff like that to get ready. But in general, you have to think about it like this. You have to get to the course earlier because you're going to play this round of golf, and it is going to determine your mood until the next time you play golf, which might be a week, it might be a month later. So if you're going to do something that is going to really affect your life profoundly for the next, like, say 48 to like 150 hours or whatever beyond, then you really ought to put some work into getting into golf. It does take some time to transition from life to golf, meaning like you need some time. It's almost like going through a time tunnel or something like that. When you're transitioning into like, okay, now I'm ready to play golf. You have to start like give yourself some time to detach from the worries and stresses and the other things you have going on in your life so that you can focus on golf. Golf is really hard. And if somebody as talented as Scotty Scheffler needs that much time just to get locked into a golf space, then you definitely need time. And it's not really about getting to the course and beating a ton of balls, making a ton of chips, making a ton of putts, but just being at the course, maybe buying a snack, paying for your round, and just not being rushed by the time you get to the first tee. And like, you know, there's specific things I've talked about before as far as really long lag putts, trajectory chips, and certain drills to do on the range that I could do a whole video about a warm-up. But just being there and not being rushed and being in that golf atmosphere earlier, you need to do something that's going to get your heart rate elevated, and then you're going to get you calmed down again and then into the golf space. Now you've fully transitioned to your golf mind. And then after you're done the round two, you also need to do something social with the guys you played with to then transition back into real world life. So get to the course earlier. All right, final thing that I'll say, and this is maybe not for everybody, but I think it's true. Be thinner and be more slim, fit, more erect posture. If you look at Scotty Scheffler, obviously he's got maybe like the perfect build right now for golf. He's very muscular, long arms, tall, long levers, things like that, and he's hitting the ball like 180 miles an hour. There's something about, you have to know what your fighting weight is for golf. Now that for you might be 240 pounds or whatever. It might be 165 pounds. There's a certain fighting weight that you play your best at. And when you have a lot of fat on your body and you're kind of dragging it around, that saps your energy throughout the day and during the round of golf. And then also, it sucks a lot of testosterone out of you. And it makes you like weaker and less focused and all kinds of things. I think the best example for this, it's non-scientific, but look at the US mid-amateur. I think a guy like Stuart Hagestad, or a guy like Dan Sullivan, who's now senior amateur, or even a guy like Tim Hogarth, from this area. Like these guys who are lifelong, really good amateurs, they all have this certain look, and it's this kind of long and lean and wiry kind of look to them. That is the kind of look that I think you're going to play your best golf at. That doesn't mean that you have to like get all the way down to that, but there's certain things that you can do to become like this slimmer and more wiry version of yourself. That's why I think like working with the stretchy bands and stuff is so good, because you can kind of look at those guys and see like they look like a long bundle, they look like a whole bunch of stretchy bands pulled tight, and they're ready to go play golf. There's something to that, and I need to learn this just as much as anybody. But there is definitely something to that. And there's something, the final thing that I'll say that goes with that is think about how many steps per week Scotty Scheffler is taking. If he walks 4 rounds a week, plus he does the Pro-Am, plus he does his own practice, plus he does workout stuff like whatever, jogging or just walking around, that is like an unbelievable amount of steps in a week. Now, for us, that would be a minimum of 10,000 a day or whatever. But there is something to just walk more and be upright. Go for a walk holding your golf club, or get the gravity fit on and go for a walk. There's something about a whole ton of walking that makes you a better golfer. All right, so that's what you can learn from Scotty Scheffler to be a better golfer. Thanks for watching, everybody. I put this video out, like I do all my videos, out early on the member side. So if you click the membership, you'll see all my videos early and also my interviews and all the raw footage from those. It really helps the channel. If you guys are interested, go check out the Gravity Fit. It's a tool that I really like. It made me better at golf, and it's a lot of fun to use. Super simple and something that anybody can do, and I really think it works to make anybody better. So if you go to gravityfit.com/bebettergolf, you'll get a great discount on it as well. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Click the subscribe button. Bye.